Welcome back to the Bad Influence Podcast. I am Jordan Banderas, and on today's episode, I'm very excited because after last week's episode was released, I received several messages back from listeners who mentioned to me how they have been able to break free from their toxic families, which is fantastic to hear because I know how it feels, and it feels pretty damn good. Let's be honest. But after sharing some of my stories back and forth with the people who message me, I realized that when you are raised in a super poisonous or toxic family, you end up carrying insecurities from that period into adulthood and into all of your relationships in life. Like, have you ever felt like you have been carrying something but you don't know what that is? Well, that could be it. All of those insecurities from that period when you were with your family and they were emotionally abusing you, that could create that feeling. At least that's how I feel. Now, I'm bringing this up because when I share some of my stories and vice versa, back and forth, we all talk about how certain events made us feel insecure and how those events also impacted our lives. And after hearing some of your stories, I wonder how many people carry such enormous amounts of self doubt because of their childhood and family dynamics. Because that's what happened with me, and that's what happened with some of the people that I talked to. And the thing is that when you carry this burden, this particular amount of self doubt that was given to you, you don't know that you're carrying it. You don't know why you feel a certain way. You don't know why you act a certain way, but probably it's because of how you were raised and how you were treated by your own family. Again, that's how I feel. Now, another thing that I do want to point out is that if you think that just because your family is not dysfunctional, you don't have any insecurities in life, that may be true for you, but not necessarily for others. Because even people who appear to have a perfect family can have insecurities. And the way those actually manifest is pretty much like pretending to be financially stable, like not having any financial problems when you're in the red, when you have so much debt, but you're like, oh, my finances are okay, but you're struggling. That's an insecurity. Trying to impress others by overbuying things, that's another insecurity, because you see that others can buy more than you, and you're like, wait, I work, wait, I bust my ass getting this check. I should be able to actually afford things like them. And then you buy a house, an expensive house. You buy a car, an expensive car, and then you struggle paying all those things. You know, that's one way an insecurity actually pops up in your life. And another type of insecurity that I've seen a lot is that people that are dealing with this, pretending to have a perfect family, they attack other people because others have better possessions than them. Or sometimes it's because they have more possessions than them. My wife gets attacked sometimes because of that by some of her closest friends. They're like, oh, I don't know why you have so much. You spend too much. I wish I could afford that, but whatever. And I see that, like, because I'm seeing it. That's why I'm talking about it, because you can see that that's an insecurity, which is not good, because sometimes it makes you sound like you're jealous or just like a plain asshole. Let's be honest. And these are all things you can really feel insecure about if you meet someone who seems to have a better life than you. And I feel like the reason behind that is that sometimes the closest people to you may pass their insecurities on to you. like your closest family, your closest friends, and you allow that to happen, or you don't even know how to react because they are inside your inner circle. These are people that you trust. These are people that you actually confide your issues. So when they start passing their insecurities onto you, you don't realize it. You think that's normal. You think that that's just how they are. And usually it's not. And the reason why they do that is because, let's be honest, people do this to you because nobody wants to carry that shit. Nobody wants to carry that burden of being insecure. So what we do, and I've done this before and it has been done to me as well, what we do is that we try to project it onto others and say, here, you carry this for me since I can't deal with this. So now I'm going to give you my burden. I'm going to tell you that you suck. I'm going to tell you that you can't do things because I can't do them and I suck. That's pretty much how it starts. Probably you have a friend or a family member that has said that to you, and you're like, oh, that's just my friend, oh, that's just my family member, whatever. But they're trying to pass their insecurity onto you, and it's very important to realize that. But based on my own experience, you start to absorb other people's insecurities because of what they say to you. For example, it's like when the people around you or the closest to you say to you, if I can't do that, then you can't do it either. Or if I can't understand it, you can't be more intelligent than me to understand it. I've been told that before by my own family. And here's what happens. When you try to do something big in life, the other person that said such things, as I mentioned, has already planted that seed of doubt. And unknowingly, you have allowed it to grow. To the point where you feel like you genuinely can't do what you want to do, what's in front of you. Like you can't reach that goal that is literally within arm's reach in front of you. And this seed of doubt grows without you even realizing it. Because again, this is being told to you by people that are around you. Sometimes you may feel that those people know you better than you know yourself. And that's why it's important to know yourself, like I mentioned on a previous episode. And here's the thing. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're stopping yourself from doing, it's probably something that you have wanted to do your entire life. But due to what others have said, you quit. And you feel bad about it later. I've done that so many times and it fucking sucks. I can tell you that it's not a good feeling when you do that. And I want to share a good story about how I let other people's insecurities hold me down. Here's what happens, to give you a little bit of a backstory. I used to always look up to my uncle back in the day when I was growing up. That's how it is on my culture. You look up to your elders or whoever tries to act as a father figure if you don't have one. But the problem with this situation is that my uncle, the person that I was looking up to, always called me useless. Or inútil in Spanish. That's what he would say all the time. Oh, inútil, you're an inútil, you're not going to be good in life, whatever. He will say shit like that pretty much my entire life. And the thing is that because he was the person I was looking up to, I believed it. And the other problem, and this is what happens a lot in a lot of families, not just Mexican families, but we do that a lot. I've seen it with white families, Asian families, African American families, all families, is that the person that is saying that says, oh, I'm doing it out of love. I'm saying this to you because I love you, which I think is fucking bullshit. Because imagine what that would do to your self-esteem if the person you look up to calls you that all the time growing up. It fucks you up. I'm not gonna lie. It fucks you up emotionally and mentally. Sometimes even physically. But due to this, I always ran my ideas by him. And a few years ago, I had a good idea. It was an excellent idea. I used to be a news hound. I used to read the news all the time. Like, I read it all day long when I had the time, which it isn't as much as anymore. But I'm okay with it. So in this situation, I kept hearing about Bitcoin. This was before it took off. So it was barely new. It was barely making it into the news. And I was like, what the fuck is Bitcoin? So I did my research and I did a lot of it. I read paper after paper after paper. I understood whatever I could because my English wasn't as good as it is right now. And for some reason, I wanted to invest in it. I had the money for it. I knew it was a good idea in my gut. I just fucking knew it. And like always, I went to my uncle and asked for advice because that's the thing that I did my whole life. So I did it again. And he literally shut me down in 5 seconds because he didn't understand it. I told him like, hey, I did all this research. Look at all these papers. He's like, nope, I don't have the time to learn about this. He didn't want to take the time to see what I found. So of course he thought he was right about showing me down, and he even called me dumb and said like, you're wasting your fucking money, dumbass. You're useless. You don't know what you're doing. Instead of investing this money onto Bitcoin, he said, give me the money and I can use it for something better. And I was like, well, he's my uncle. He's older than me. He's supposed to be wiser than me. So I'm going to believe it. And then what happened with Bitcoin? It fucking took off. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because even though my gut told me to do it, I didn't. I could have been so fucking wealthy right now if I had just gone with what my soul told me to. But I didn't again. I didn't. I let him convince me that I was wrong. That I didn't know what I was doing. And based on this experience, I can tell you that you need to always listen to your inner voice. Always listen to that inner voice that tells you just fucking go for it. Just go for it. Because if it feels right, you need to do it. You need to listen to yourself and just go for it. If you fail, you fail. At least you tried. And that's what matters. At least you tried. Because I let my uncle's insecurities in life put down my idea. I let him hold me back. That's all on me. I take responsibility for that. And the worst part of it now is that I let him stop me from being super wealthy when my gut told me to go for it. That's the worst feeling ever. Now, I have been able to work through that feeling, and I'm okay. I let it go. I'm like, whatever. I'm going to get to that point on my own. Now that I cut off my family, I don't have to worry about what they say because I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for my wife. I'm doing it to create generational wealth. That's what I've done. And I want to point out something, though. I've talked about the kind of relationship that my uncle and I had. And it was fucking toxic as hell because he did things like this my entire life. He always shut me down. He always made me feel like I wasn't good enough. One of the things that he will always say again is that if he didn't understand something, then I won't be able to understand it either because he thought he was smarter than everybody else. I'm pretty sure that he still thinks he is. But As a result of all of this, the way that I was treated and the way that I grew up, I've always felt very insecure throughout my entire life. I felt like I wasn't good enough to make my own decisions, my own choices, due to the kind of bullshit that my uncle always spewed on me. Now that I work through it, I cannot see it as a way of controlling people. You know, when they spew all this shit, when people around you spew all this shit telling you that you can't do it, I feel like they're trying to control you because they don't want you to do better than them. They don't want you to make them feel bad about themselves because you're doing something for yourself that they can't do. So it's important to realize when that's happening around you. Because I've known that I've carried these insecurities with me for a long time. And I carry them with me into my relationships with people, including my marriage. And let me tell you, it fucking impacted me over and over and over again in a very negative way. And the reasons are because I've never felt confident enough to at work to pursue better opportunities or apply for better positions. I've always felt like others were making fun of me or attacking me in my relationships. Those were my insecurities. And I've always felt like I'm not a good enough husband in my marriage. All because of all the insecurities that I absorbed from my family and all their toxicity that spewed into me, and I was trying to absorb it. But luckily, I chose therapy. And I now understand that my uncle only projected his poor childhood and incompetent feelings onto me. My therapist made me realize that when someone says things like, you can't do that, you're not smart enough, you didn't go to college, so you won't be able to make it, and other things like I have mentioned, it's not about you. It's about how the other person feels about themselves, which I believe is true. I honestly believe that's true. Usually, like I have mentioned throughout the episode, we project our feelings onto others based on how we feel. So anytime, one of the things that I have done, anytime that somebody says, oh, you can't do that, I'm like, oh no, you can't do it. I know I can. It's going to take me time. I'm going to fucking figure it out. I'm going to learn and I'm going to fucking do it. That's the kind of attitude that you need in life. When somebody says, you can't do it. Oh no, I can. And I'm going to learn. But it all depends if you want to do it or not. Now, I do also want to share this because a lot of people felt this way as well when I talked to them. This particular situation with my family has left a chip on my shoulder when I look back on it. Because my uncle has been working in the same field for years. He's doing back-breaking work. And I mean back-breaking work. He's like tired all the time. Well, the last time that I talked to them, he was tired all the time. He complains about it. He hates it. And he is in his 60s. He's doing all this back-breaking work in his 60s. There could be risk of injury, and then obviously he might not be able to work, and that will be the end of his work life, pretty much. But one of the things that I've always thought to myself was, if you're so smart, then why are you not bettering yourself? Obviously, I couldn't ask him that when I had that relationship with him because he will get mad. He will pretty much blast me again. But the answer that I came up with, this is just my speculation. He has never felt good about himself to do anything about it. He is comfortable or semi-comfortable and doesn't want to grow. But one of the things that I realize is that I do want to grow. And you should want to grow. And I will push myself to reach my goals. It doesn't matter how long it takes me. I will learn and I will fucking achieve them. That's the kind of mentality that I have now. That's the kind of feelings that I have now. Like, oh, yes, I can do it. You told me throughout my entire fucking life that I can't do something because I'm not smart enough. But guess what? I can learn. I can. And I will learn. And I won't quit. So, if you have insecurities that are holding you back, figure out where they come from. And once you have identified the source, find the right people to talk to. And the most important thing that you can do in this situation, create a set of beliefs that are new that can help you overcome them and create a better life. So now that I've poured my heart out about some of my insecurities, I'm leaving you with a question. Whose insecurities are you carrying around, and why are you letting them hold you down? And that's what I wanted to share on today's episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the growth and the feedback. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The link is in the episode's description. And here are my final thoughts. A lot of your insecurities are not even yours. They come from family, friends, and people around you. So don't let those insecurities stop you from creating the life that you want. And have a great day.